Hello, everybody, and welcome to the entertainment headquarters, and welcome to another trailer reaction. Now, this trailer reaction is for the second part of a planned trilogy. Now, this trilogy is going to be the final, like the final of the saga, the final of this world and storytelling with inside the 28 Days Later world. So it started many years ago with Danny Boyle. He came up with 28 Days Later, which that, and I would say alongside The Train to Busan, changed the zombie film landscape. There were two, films that brought a new, unique twist and some originality to the zombie genre. And of course, after 28 days later, we got 28 weeks later, and now it's been many years since those films. And finally, Danny Boyle put pen to paper along with his co-writer to create the 28 years later film, which is a planned trilogy. Now, the original film 28 years later, the first film within this planned trilogy, when the first trailer dropped, I got immediately very excited. It looked amazing. It looked like it was going to be a fun ride. But then sitting in theaters, I still enjoyed the movie, but it definitely was not the movie I thought it was going to be. It ended up being a coming of age story with the character of Spike, who, was a young lad living in, isolated England with his family in kind of this border controlled community on this little island away from the mainland. And then, of course, he ends up going on, this coming of age quest with his dad, and then he discovers his mother's not very well, and he's just a son who loves his mother with all his heart, and he seeks out to try and find her help when she's got this undiagnosed illness. And if you've seen the film, you know what happens. For those that haven't, I'm not going to continue and spoil it for you. But then the way the film ended, it ended on a very weird note. It ended very strangely. You're introduced to a group of new characters that, if you know, you know. If you don't, you'll be surprised, and it'd probably be a bit disturbing as well when you meet these bunch of characters. And here we are with part two, the second part of, I guess, the character Spike's journey and story, who's now taken center stage within the 28 years world. This one, however, is not being directed by Danny Boyle. He is like a producer, and I would imagine helped write this one. But this movie is being directed by Nia DaCosta. It stars Ralph Fiennes, Jack O'Connell, Alfie Williams, Erin Kellerman, and Chai Lewis Parry. And the premise of this one is taking place after the events of the first film. Spike is inducted into the Sir Jimmy Crystal and his gang of acrobatic killers in a post-apocalyptic England ravaged by the rage virus. Meanwhile, Dr. Ian Kelson uncovers a deadly discovery that will have consequences that could alter the world. So Dr. Kelson was the character played by Ralph Fiennes, so clearly he's getting a much bigger part in the second movie, in the second chapter. So without further ado, let's check out 28 Days Later, The Bone Temple.
Trying to predict the future is a discouraging and hazardous occupation. In fact, it may not even exist at all.
Oh, what is this I cannot see? Oh, I am deaf, none can excel.
many of the things we take for granted will one day pass away completely.
I open the door of heaven and hell.
When that time comes, men will no longer communicate. We may have diseases and barbarism.
Oh, I am an excel.
The whole world will cease to make any sense.
I open the door of heaven and hell.
Look at the incredible changes we've experienced and survived. And yet even greater changes are still to come.
Are you ready?
My soul shall scream in hell.
Very, very interesting. Like I say, when they came to the first movie, the way the trailer, threw things out there with, it looked like it was going to be like a full-on war between the rage virus infected and the rest of the world or the rest of England. But then that's not what we got. We got like a much more simpler story that ended with Spike, going on this journey. And the great thing I liked about the first movie is how they did simplify things. Like we're seeing how the rage virus had destroyed England, how everything kind of stopped, everything kind of, regressed. So how these were living on this island community, they were like, it was like medieval times. They had spears. They had built like a wooden fort around the little village they were living in. They were using bow and arrows. So it really emphasized like this apocalyptic feeling of the world has totally come to a halt and there's no technology, there's no nothing. And they were just having to survive off the land and, whatever they could find. And on top of that, you still had these rage virus people still among us on the mainland. And this film feels very much it's continuing that pattern. But obviously, just like Mad Max, where you had different communities who had different beliefs or different, ways of living. You had all them different, villages and different towns within the world of Mad Max after the apocalypse that happened in those movies. This feels like they're kind of going down the same path. It also has, the Walking Dead vibes, because Walking Dead did that. You had all the different communities throughout the Walking Dead, some good, some really messed up. And so I feel as if this is like a natural progression of what would probably happen within the world of a zombie apocalypse. So it's going to be interesting to see where this director takes us and the two writers that wrote this take us. Like I say, it wasn't the movie I expected it to be, the first one, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. And we still haven't seen any glimpses of Cillian Murphy. Now, Cillian Murphy is apparently making an appearance in the second movie within this planned trilogy. I would imagine his part's going to be small. I can't imagine them giving him a big role, because apparently off the grapevine of an interview with Danny Boyle, he said that Cillian Murphy will make an appearance in the sequel, the second part, and then if all goes to plan and we do get a third movie, the final chapter in the 28 Years trilogy, apparently Cillian Murphy's Jimmy, or Jim, is going to take a huge, part in that movie. He's going to be the prime focus. So I hope that happens. I hope this movie does as well as the first one for to garner the third one, because it would, I think we need the third one personally just to wrap everything up, because we don't want a movie to end again on an open ending. It would be nice to have some final kind of resolution or final to the 28 years world and universe. But who knows? Only time will tell. What did you think of the 28 years later movie, the first one? What do you think of the trailer for the second movie? Did you enjoy the first one? Did you not enjoy the first one? Are you looking forward to this one? Let me know in the comments below. But as always, keep enjoying your movies. Keep on enjoying all things entertainment. And I'll catch us all at the next one.
We'll be right back.